In the year 2498, Earth was no longer alone in the galaxy. Humans had traveled far beyond their solar system. They had built space stations, colonized moons, and even terraformed planets. But space was not empty. There were others out there, powerful. Ancient civilizations that had watched humanity rise like a wildfire. Among them was the Dominion Cold, intelligent and beautiful alien race known for their pale silver skin, glowing violet eyes, and strict belief in logic and order. The Tizalari had ruled parts of the galaxy for over 10,000 years. To them, humans were wild animals, growing too fast, too loud, and too unpredictable. The Tizalari sent warnings. But humanity did not listen. The war began with a single spark. A small human mining station on the edge of Tizalari space. The humans claimed it was abandoned territory. The Tizalari saw it as invasion. The first attack destroyed the station and killed 3,000 civilians. Earth responded with force. Now, for 5 years, war had burned like a star across the galaxy, Captain. Marcus Day stood on the bridge of the starship Valor's Reach, staring at the holographic battle map. He was tall, dark-haired, and tired. His eyes showed the weight of too many battles, too many lives lost under his command. Yet he still stood strong, like a stone against the storm. "Enemy fleet closing in, sir," said Lieutenant Ria Cheng, her voice tense. "Solari ships, at least 12. Formation Delta 5. That's a trap pattern." Marcus nodded. "They want us to chase them. We won't." Hold position, the crew obeyed. Most of them had served under Marcus for years. They trusted him because he had done the impossible more than once. He didn't always follow orders from Earth Command, but he always brought his people home. Above the planet in Celia Prime, the stars shimmered with the light of battle. Human ships and Silari cruisers danced like fireflies, exchanging deadly beams of plasma and pulse cannons. Wreckage drifted, silent and cold. On the other side of the battlefield, aboard the Tezalari flagship Siobhan Ryle, Commander Lasara Vithel observed the battle with calm silver eyes. She was known as the Silver, flame a name whispered by human pilots with both fear and admiration. Her long white hair was tied in a braid of status, marking her as one of the high lineage. Her uniform shimmered with the soft light of the Tizalari sun symbol. She was elegance and power, wrapped in silence. "Human ship Valor's Reach is in Sector 9, her tactical officer said. Lasara's eyes narrowed slightly. "Marcus Day?" "Yes, Commander." She paused. For a moment, the humming of the ship seemed louder. Then she spoke. "Hold fire." The crew turned to her, confused. "Commander? That vessel has destroyed 3 of our cruisers." "I am aware," she said calmly. "Redirect fire to the flanking units. Leave the Valor's Reach." No one questioned her. Not openly. But whispers would follow. Back on Valor's Reach, the crew watched in shock as the enemy ships turned away. "They let us go," Ria whispered. Marcus frowned. "They had us." That wasn't mercy. That was something else. He walked to the viewing panel and stared at the Tizalari fleet disappearing into hyperspace. "Who commands their forces in this sector?" he asked. Ria tapped her console. "Lisara Vitho, the Silver Flame." Marcus nodded slowly. He had read reports about her deadly, precise, brilliant. But something was strange. He felt it in his gut. "She made a choice," he murmured. Later, in his quarters, Marcus sat alone. He activated a small screen and opened a classified file. Enemy commanders. Priority targets. Lasara's image appeared serene. Alien. Hauntingly beautiful. Her eyes stared straight ahead. Not cruel, not kind, just distant. "Why did you spare us?" he whispered. On the Siobhan Ryle, Lisara stood in her private chamber. Solari walls glowed softly, painted with light crystals and flowing symbols. She placed her hand on the console and brought up an old Phylan intercepted human song, translated into Solari. "We loved like stars burning, distant, never meant to touch." She had listened to it many times. Something about the raw emotion in human music spoke to her. The passion, the chaos, the hope. She knew it was forbidden to study human culture this deeply, but she couldn't help it, especially now. Especially. After Marcus Day, he had fought like no other. His tactics were wild, unpredictable, yet effective. She had read his mission reports. She had watched recordings of his battles. When their ships had faced each other for the first time, something in her head paused. She didn't understand it. Was it curiosity? Respect? No, it was something deeper. She touched her heart and ancient. The Zalari gesture of emotion and whispered softly, "If only we had been born under the same sky." Back on Earth, Command was furious. "Why did she spare you?" Admiral Kepler demanded over the cum. Marcus stared at the screen. "I don't know. Maybe she made a mistake." "No, she doesn't make mistakes," the Admiral snapped. "She's sending a message. Psychological warfare. Don't fall for it." Marcus ended the call and sat back in his chair, but something told him the Admiral was wrong. Days later, a strange message was intercepted by Earth's outer signal net. It was encrypted in both Solari and human codes, something no one had ever seen. Marcus was called to the decoding room. The message was simple. "Captain Marcus Day, I have read your words. Yes. I have seen your fire. Why do your people love so freely? We are taught that love is disorder. But I wonder if that disorder is the source of your strength." Lysara Vethel Marcus sat back, stunned. "She's reaching out," he whispered. "Sir?" the technician asked. He didn't answer. He just stared at the screen, at the elegant alien script glowing like starlight. He didn't know it yet. But something had already begun. A change. A fracture in the war. A thread of emotion running through the battlefield. Something more dangerous than any weapon. Hope. Captain Marcus Day stood alone in the observation deck of Valor's Reach. Stars moved slowly outside the glass as the ship cruised in silent space. He held a data tablet in his hand, staring at the message he had read over a dozen times. "Do your people love so freely? We are taught that love is disorder. But I wonder... If that disorder is the source of your strength..." Lysara Vethel, it wasn't a battle threat. It wasn't propaganda. It was ... personal. Strange, almost. Poetic? Marcus didn't know how to respond. Was it real? Is this some kind of trap? And yet deep down, he believed it was real. He looked around the quiet room, then tapped on the tablet. Slowly, carefully, he typed a message of his own. "We love freely because we know life is short. Even in war, some things are worth feeling. Even if they hurt." He didn't sign it. Didn't send it through any official channel. Instead, he used a forgotten signal, Path and Old, hidden cum line, used only by spies during the early war. He hoped. As he pressed send, he whispered, "Let's see if you're still listening, Silver Flame," far across. The stars on the Tizlari ship Shavin Ral, Commander Lysara, sat inside her personal meditation chamber. It was quiet, filled with soft violet light. The Zalari wind chimes moved slowly, though there was no wind in space. She was supposed to be resting before the next battle. But instead, she stared at her communication console. A tiny light blinked. Message received. She touched the screen. Human language. Simple, raw. Even in war, some things are worth feeling. She closed her eyes. Zalari were taught not to feel. From childhood, they were trained to control their minds, their hearts. Emotion was weakness. But Lysara had always been curious. Why did humans risk everything for love, for family, for freedom? Why did they cry during music? Why did they sacrifice for strangers? She had studied their culture in secret, listened to their songs, read their old books. And now, she had started a conversation, a dangerous one. The next battle came quickly. A human colony on Reeson III was under attack. Marcus's fleet was ordered to defend it. As they arrived, plasma fire lit the skies. Dizalari warships moved in perfect formation. The Shavin Ral was among them. "Sir, the Silver Flame is here," said Lieutenant Rhea. "Should we target her ship?" Marcus paused. "No. Defend the colony first." Civilians are the priority. As the battle raged, Marcus gave sharp, clever orders. He moved like a shadow, using asteroid cover and gravity wells to surprise the enemy. The Tazalari expected logic. He gave them chaos. His style worked because it was human. On the Shavan Rao, Lasara watched his moves with silent admiration. Every time she tried to trap him, he escaped. Every time she cornered him, he vanished. It was like chasing lightning. Her officer frowned. Should we focus fire on Valor's reach, Commander? Lasara hesitated. No. Engage the other cruisers. Keep Day's ship busy but alive. Her crew gave confused glances, but obeyed. After 5 hours, the Tazalari retreated. The colony was safe. Its casualties were lower than expected. In his command room, Marcus reviewed the footage. Again, she had a clear shot. Again, she let him go. He opened the hidden come line. You had me. Why didn't you take the shot? He didn't expect a reply so soon, but within minutes the console lit up. Because I wanted to hear more of your words, not your silence. Marcus stared at the screen. I should have laughed. He should have been suspicious. But instead he felt something strange. Warm. He typed slowly. Then ask your questions. I'll answer. Even if we're on different sides. We are not only on different sides, Lasara replied. Our enemies. I am bred to fight you. But I no longer know if that is what I want. For the next week, between battles, they kept writing. Not long messages, not love letters, just small pieces. Thoughts. Questions. Lasara asked why humans enjoyed dancing. Marcus sent her a video of a wedding party. Marcus asked what the Tazalari believed about fate. She replied with a quote from her ancestors. The stars decide paths, but hearts decide whether to follow them. They never used real names, just commander and captain. But the bond was growing, fragile thread between galaxies. On the third night, Marcus sent her an old Earth poem. You and I. We are like fire and ice, meant to burn, meant to melt. But never meant to meet, Lysara replied. If I had been born human, I would have danced under your sky. If you had been born Silari, I would have held your name in honor. But we are not. We are what they made us. Still, I wonder what we could have been. But danger was coming. On Earth, Command had noticed Marcus's strange behavior. Too cautious. In battle, avoiding conflict with the Silver Flame, too many near misses. Admiral Kepler called an emergency meeting. Something's going on, said. Day's getting soft. We need to monitor him. And on the Shavan Rao, Lasara's second-in-command, Vahan, had also grown suspicious. He had seen her delay orders. He had seen her stare too long at the console. He reported it to the High Council. One night Marcus's private comms were hacked. Just for 5 seconds, but enough commands saw the hidden signal channel. Enough to raise red flags. Marcus was called in. You're communicating with the enemy? The Admiral shouted. No. Marcus lied. I was tracking their code. Just experimenting. Careful, Captain. If we find proof you're helping the enemy, you'll be court-martialed. Or worse. He nodded. But his jaw was tight. That night he sent a short message. They're watching. I may not be able to reply again. Be careful, Lasara replied. I always am. But it seems the stars are not on our side. Meanwhile, Lysara was summoned to Tazalari Prime. The High Council greeted her with cold stares. Commander Vethel, said the high voice, your strategies are efficient, but your behavior is irregular. I act in service of victory, she said calmly. We are not questioning your victories. We are questioning your loyalty. They gave her an order. Return for evaluation.
Oh.
A Tazalari ritual to restore emotional control. She bowed, but her heart pounded. If they cleansed her, her feelings would vanish. Her thoughts of Marcus would be erased. She returned to her ship and locked the door then. For the first time, she sent a full message. They are taking me for cleansing. If I return, I will not remember you. Not this way. Not the fire, not the music, not the stars. So I say this once before I forget. If there were no war, no borders, no blood between us. Would have married you, human. Marcus read the message. In silence, then he stood. Slowly, like a man rising from sleep into fire, he looked at the stars. Then I'll bring you back before they erase what we are. The moment Marcus Day read Lysara's message, he knew he had to act. There was no time to think, no time to ask permission, no time to consider the risks. She was going to lose her memories of him, of their messages, of everything they had shared. He wouldn't let that happen. He had faced fleets, commanders, and death. But this was different. This wasn't about war. This was about something that felt more real than anything he had known in years. He tapped the com. Rhea, prepare the ship for a stealth jump. No one tells command. No logs. Just us, Lieutenant. Rhea's voice came back with confusion. Sir, are we going rogue? Yes, Marcus said. We're going to get her. Meanwhile, on the Tazalari flagship Siobhan Rao, Commander Lysara Vethel sat in her personal chamber, her eyes closed. A transport ship was arriving to take her to Tazalari Prime. There, her mind would be cleansed, a ritual to remove dangerous emotions and thoughts. She had seen others go through it. They came back calm, obedient, and empty. She had never been afraid before. But now, she was terrified, not of pain, of forgetting, of losing the messages, of losing Marcus. The door beeped. Her second-in-command Varahan entered with 2 guards. It's time, Commander, he said coldly. You must come. She stood with dignity. I am not resisting, but I ask for one moment. Alone. Varahan hesitated, then nodded once. You have 5 minutes. The guard stepped back. The door closed. Lysara walked to her console. She opened the secret channel one last time and typed slowly. I will not remember you. But if you see me again, and I look into your eyes, remind me who I was. Valor's reach moved through space like a ghost. Rhea sat next to Marcus in the command seat. We're risking everything, sir. If they catch us? I know, he said, eyes fixed forward. But why her? She asked. She's the enemy. Marcus sighed. She's more than that. I don't know how to explain it. But if I let them erase her mind, I'll lose something I never thought I'd have. Rhea looked at him for a moment, then nodded. Then let's get her back. They arrived near the Tazalari border. The location of Siobhan Rao was classified, but Marcus had studied her patterns. He knew her fleet's patrol schedule. He guessed where she would stop before reaching the capital. And he was right there, Rhea said, pointing. One large ship, no escort, power signatures match. Marcus smiled. She's alone. They don't think anyone would dare try a rescue, because no one would. I'm not no one. Getting close wasn't easy. Celery sensors were advanced. But Marcus had a trick-hand old human stealth drone from a black project. Cloaked the Valor's reach just long enough to slip through. The plan was simple. Get close to Siobhan Rao. Board it. At Lysara. Get out simple never meant easy. Inside Siobhan Rao, Lysara was in chains. Tazalari's ships were elegant but cold. The holding cell was made of smooth crystal walls and humming lights. She sat on the floor, hands behind her back. Her heart beat fast. Suddenly, alarms blared. Warning, unauthorized ship detected. The guards turned in confusion. Before they could act, a blast tore through the wall. Smoke filled the hallway. Shapes moved inside it, humans in exosuits. The guards raised weapons, but one by one, they fell. Marcus stepped into the room, his gun still smoking. He looked at her. She looked at him, both froze. Neither spoke. Then Marcus ran to her, knelt down, and broke her chains. You came, she whispered. I told you I would, he said, helping her up. I don't let people I care about get erased. They ran together through the halls as the ship shook. Tazalari troops chased them. But Rhea's team covered their path. Extraction points ready, she said through the comm. Bring the shuttle around. Marcus shouted. As they ran, Lysara stumbled. Marcus caught her. You're not weak, he said. You're strong enough to feel. She looked up at him. "You're chaos, Marcus Day, but you burn so bright." They reached the shuttle bay Rhea, and the others fought off the last wave of guards as they lifted into space. Siobhan Rao fired at them but missed. The Valor's Reach jumped to warp. They were free, for now on board. Lysara sat in the med bay quiet. She stared at her reflection in a silver panel. "I'm a criminal now," she said softly. "To my people." "I'm not a hero either," Marcus replied. "Earth Command will court-martial me." She turned to him. "We have no homes left."
"No,"
Marcus said. "But we have something else." She looked at him for a long time. "You saved me before I forgot you," she said. Marcus reached into his pocket and pulled out a necklace. It had a tiny metal charm shaped like a star. "I was going to give this to someone a long time ago. I never did." He placed it in her hand. Lysara closed her fingers around it. "I will remember," she whispered. But their problems were only beginning. Command. New Marcus had vanished. Dezalari Prime had declared him a war criminal, and both sides were hunting him now. But for one moment, in a small room on Valor's Reach, Marcus and Lysara sat side by side, staring at the stars. Two enemies, two hearts, one bond. Two fugitives, one human and one Solari, were now hunted by both of their worlds. Captain Marcus Day and Commander Lysara Vethel had left everything behind: titles, ranks, fleets, orders, all for something they weren't even sure had a name, not yet love. Not just loyalty, but something between the stars that felt more true than either of them had ever known. Wanted by Earth Command, wanted by the Tazalari Council. That message now flashed across every military ship in both systems. Human ships were ordered to capture Marcus Day alive if possible. Zalari ships were ordered to bring Lysara back for mind cleansing or elimination. And so the most feared human captain and the most respected Zalari commander had become the galaxy's greatest traitors. But they were together, and four. Now that was enough. Inside a hidden asteroid base in the neutral zone, the stolen Valor's Reach sat under repairs. The base was old, forgotten by war, what had once been used by smugglers. Now, it was a safe place for runaways, with nowhere else to go. Marcus leaned over a map table, his face lit by the pale blue glow of nearby stars. Lysara stood beside him, arms crossed. "We can't run forever," she said. "I know," Marcus answered, "but Earth Command will send ships. Zalari will send assassins. If they find us, they'll tear us apart," she finished. He nodded slowly. "So we need to hit first." Lysara raised an eyebrow. "Want to fight both?" "Empires, not fight. Expose," he said. "If we can prove to both sides what they're hiding, how they've twisted the truth about the war, they'll lose control. People will listen." "And what truth is that, Marcus?" He looked at her. "That they created this war. That they made us enemies, because they're afraid of what peace might bring." Lysara thought for a moment, then she stepped closer. "Then we exposed them." Marcus and Lysara weren't alone. Over the next few days, more people arrived at the asteroid base. Pilots, engineers, medics, some human, some even Solari, those who had also started to question the war. A Solari scientist named Dr. Rahuzo brought a secret, copies of high-level council recordings, proof that the Tsilari had refused peace talks for decades. Human tech officer named June Rallis brought data showing Earth Command had hidden peace offers from the public to justify building more weapons. It was shocking. It was dangerous. But it was real now. They just needed a way to broadcast it to the galaxy. They made a plan. There was a massive peace conference happening soon, one of those fake ones both sides held to show they were trying. It would be broadcast live across dozens of systems. If they could hijack the signal, Marcus and Lysara could speak directly to the people and show the evidence. Maybe, just maybe, the war would lose its power, but getting in wouldn't be easy. The conference would be held on Station Aurum, a high-security orbital hub guarded by both human and Solari elite forces. "We'll never sneak in as ourselves," Rhea said. "No," Marcus agreed. But we don't need to. We just need to get the signal uploaded. Lysara looked at the map. I can distract the Silari. I know their patrol cycles. I'll go to the signal tower, Marcus said. She looked at him sharply. Alone? I started this. I'll finish it. There was silence between them. Then she said, quietly, don't die. The day of the mission arrived. They flew in aboard a disguised cargo freighter. They wore stolen uniforms, no weapons, just one mission. Tell the truth. Marcus made his way through the lower levels of the station, moving fast. The halls were crowded with diplomats, guards, and media. He reached the main tower, where the live broadcast would begin in just 20 minutes. He slipped into the server room. Ria's voice came through his earpiece. We're inside, uploading. Files now? Good, Marcus whispered. Start the signal when I give the word. Meanwhile, Lysara had triggered the distraction. She appeared in full uniform on a nearby shuttle, pretending to be a Tizalari envoy. The moment her face was scanned, alarms blared. Tizalari soldiers swarmed the area, but she led them in circles, buying Marcus precious minutes. Even as she ducked behind cover, exchanging fire with guards, her mind stayed on one thing. Marcus, don't let them stop you. Back in. The tower. Marcus slipped into the broadcast chamber. 2 guards saw him. Hey, you're not. He hit them fast, silent. 8. No kill shots. Just enough to knock them out. He stepped up to the broadcast podium. Lights turned on, cameras activated. The screen blinked.
A live feed. Starting in 543. He took a breath, then he spoke. People of Earth, people of Salari Prime, my name
Is Captain Marcus Day? Or it was. I'm a fugitive now. Branded a traitor. Not because I killed. Not because I betrayed. But because I saw the truth. He stared into the camera, eyes full of fire. We were taught to hate. We were raised to fight. This warrior war was built on lies. Here is the proof. He pressed a button. Behind him, screens showed footage. Meetings, recordings, hidden files. Zalari leaders rejecting peace. Human commanders ordering. False reports. All to keep you afraid. All to keep you fighting. He continued, voice steady. I met someone who was supposed to be my enemy. But she asked me one question. Why do humans love freely? I didn't know how to answer, but now I do. He looked down because love is the one thing they can't control. It's the one thing that makes us more than soldiers, more than tools. I don't know if we'll survive this, but I know we deserve to try. Took a deep breath. My name is Marcus Day, and I love a Chizlari commander. The feed cut out. Marcus turned to leave, but armed guards rushed in. They raised their weapons. He didn't move. Suddenly, dash, boom. Explosion rocked the station. A ship crashed into the side hangar. Valor's reach. Lysara had returned. She stormed into the tower, shooting down guards with stunning precision. She reached Marcus, breathing hard. You said you'd finish it. She said, I did. He replied, smiling. And you saved me again. She grabbed his hand. Now let's run. They escaped in a stolen fighter as they flew into open space. Human and Tizalari ships were in chaos, divided, confused, not knowing who to obey, all across the stars. People were watching, some angry, some shocked, but many inspired. Back on. The asteroid base messages poured in, humans and Solari both saying the same thing. We had no idea. We believe you. What can we do now? Hope, the most dangerous weapon of all. That night, Marcus and Lysara sat under a glass dome, watching the stars. We can't go back, Marcus said. No, Lysara agreed, but maybe. We can go forward. She smiled. I never believed in destiny, she whispered. But I believe in this. Marcus looked at her hand in his, then up at the stars. Lysara Vethel, he said softly. Would you marry me if you could? Shh, smiled gently. If I could, I already have. My heart. The galaxy was no longer silent after Marcus Day's broadcast. Everything changed. Earth Command and the Tazalari Council tried to cover it up. They released statements calling it enemy propaganda. They claimed the recordings were fake. The love story a trick, but it was too late. People had seen the truth, and the truth doesn't disappear. On many human worlds, soldiers laid down their weapons. They began asking questions. Protesting on Tazalari planets, young warriors refused to join the war academies. They spoke openly about emotions, love, and choice. The truth was spreading like fire in dry grass. But fire always draws the wind. Both Earth and Solari. Leaders now had one mission: silence Marcus and Lysara forever. Not just to stop them, but to make an example. In a dark chamber beneath Solari Prime, High Counselor Jurith hissed in anger. She was our finest, he growled. And now she is our shame. He looked at a glowing map of the galaxy. Find them, no mercy. On Earth, Admiral Gregor of the Unified Command stood before a council. He's turned our best troops against us, he said. He's a virus. Then erase him, said one of the generals. Both sides launched Operation Silence, a combined secret fleet of Earth and Tazalari fleet ships. It was the first time in history that both powers worked together, not for peace, but for fear. Marcus and Lysara knew they didn't have much time left. Inside the old asteroid base, now filled with dozens of human and Xylari defectors, they held one last meeting. Marcus stood at the center of the command hall. We shook the galaxy, he said. But they're coming for us, and when they arrive, they won't ask questions.
Yeah.
His loyal second-in-command stood up, and we hold the line. We can't win against that fleet, said Dr. Rahuzu, a Solari scientist. But we don't have to win, Lysara said. We only have to last long enough. Marcus nodded. There's one last message to send. A full data package. Names, documents, orders, proof of everything. We send it everywhere. Neutral zones, black nets, even pirate signals. And what happens after? Rhea asked. Marcus looked around the room. We fight. That night, Marcus and Lysara stood together under the same glass dome where they had once dreamed. But tonight, they didn't dream. They faced reality. You know, we may not survive, Marcus said. I know, Lysara replied softly. If I had met you in another life. She touched his face gently. Oh, you did. We just called it war. He smiled, then held out his hand. Let me marry you. Lysara blinked. We don't have human papers, no matter. We don't have Tazalari permission. We don't need it. We have no priest, no witness. We have the stars. Stared at him, heart trembling. Then she took his hand and whispered, Then I am yours. Their wedding had no music, no flowers, no rings, only hands held together, eyes locked and a promise spoken quietly. Even if the stars forget us, we will not forget each other. The enemy fleet arrived the next morning, massive, cold, united by fear. Hundreds of ships surrounded the asteroid base. Marcus stood on the bridge of Valor's Reach, now turned into a command ship. Rhea was beside him, transmission loaded, ready to fire the signal. He nodded. Wait for my mark. Lysara stood at the weapons console. Her voice was calm. We have 34 ships. They have over 300. Marcus smiled faintly.
So it's a fair fight.
The battle began. Enemy fighters rushed forward like a wave. Valor's Reach and the rebel ships answered. Lasers lit the sky. Explosions painted the dark with fire. Inside the asteroid base, Dr. Rahuzu worked fast, uploading full data burst. 60% complete. A blast hit the base. Lights flickered. Still, the signal continued. Lysara flew the ship like a dancer in Warlagen. Deadly? Marcus watched her with awe. You were born to command, he said. She grinned. No, I was born to choose, one by one. Their allies fell, ships burned, friends died, but still they fought. Still they held the line. And then signal complete, shouted Rhea. It's out. Marcus took a breath. We did it. Lysara turned to him, eyes soft, but then an enemy ship broke through. It fired. The blast hit Valor's reach dead on. The world went white. When Marcus opened his eyes, alarms were screaming. Smoke everywhere. Smoke everywhere. He crawled to Lysera. She was lying still, blood on her side. He held her close. No, no, stay with me. She opened her eyes just barely. You were always fire, she whispered. And you were always stars, he said. Choking on tears, she touched his cheek. I wish we could marry. He held her hand tightly. We did. Don't forget we did. She smiled and went still. Outside, the enemy ships paused. Then something strange happened. One by one, rebel broadcasts lit up all over the galaxy. People had seen the files, the truth, the lies exposed. On Earth, civilians stormed military stations. On Stories Prime, students shouted in the streets. Some ships in the enemy fleet stopped firing. Some turned away. Some even joined the rebels. The war was dying because of two voices. Later, Marcus sat alone on a silent hill on a quiet moon. He wore a simple jacket. In his hand was the charm necklace he once gave her. He looked up at the stars. I kept my promise, he said. I saved you, and you saved all of us. There was no grave, no body, but her memory filled every corner of space. Years passed, peace returned. Humans in Tizalari began rebuilding. Slowly, carefully, and somewhere in the vast galaxy stories were told. Stories of a human captain and an alien commander who dared to love. Children asked, is it true? And their parents said yes, because sometimes even the stars fall in love. One day on a distant station, a young officer looked up from a record. Screen, hey, she called. Did you know Marcus Day disappeared after the war? Really? They say he still flies between the stars? Alone? But not lonely. Why? Because someone up there is still with him. And in the silent black between suns. In an old ship drifting with grace, a figure stood at the window watching the galaxy spin. He wore a necklace. And when he closed his eyes, he saw her smile, not gone, never gone, only waiting.